let's try and make sense of this heavyweight mess. First of all, you got Tyson Fury coming out accusing Anthony Joshua, Dillian Whyte, and Alexander Usyk of being bums and cowards, claiming none of them want to fight. Eddie Hearn responds by calling Tyson Fury a walking contradiction, and he implies that Fury doesn't want to fight Usyk next. Then Usyk's manager, Accuses, comes out and says that Fury is the one holding up the wagon. I assume he's talking about negotiations for the undisputed fight. Then you got Mike Coppinger via ESPN saying that a deal was in place for Fury to fight Usyk in Saudi Arabia, with the Saudis putting up an enormous amount of money, and that included step-aside deals for Anthony Joshua and Dillian Whyte. But he says the deal fell apart after parties attempted to renegotiate at the 11th hour. But he doesn't specify which parties they were, because there are obviously multiple parties involved here. Then you had TalkSport coming out saying it was Anthony Joshua and Dillian Whyte who rejected the step-aside deals. They say that Dillian Whyte was offered £5 million, while AJ was offered £15 million to step aside. In American dollars, I guess that's about, what, 7-8 million for Dillian Whyte and about 20 million for Anthony Joshua. So who's telling the truth? Who's lying? Because they can't all be telling the truth, right? Well, I found it interesting that Eddie Hearn implied that Tyson Fury doesn't want to fight Usyk next, but rather he wants some type of interim bout in March. So what, he feels like he's not ready for Usyk right away, that he needs to be sharper. And personally, I think that's a good idea, because this is not Deontay Wilder. As big a risk as it was for Tyson Fury to go in there when he was ill-prepared against Deontay Wilder in the first fight, he took the chance, I have to imagine, partly because Wilder is so technically poor. Alexander Usyk is not technically poor. This is a guy who it's not easy to box with. You're going to have to put it on him, and he can make you look clumsy. And as good a boxer as Tyson Fury is, he's looked clumsy in plenty of fights. So I think it's sensible for Tyson Fury to want an interim bout before going in there against Alexander Usyk, if that is indeed true, assuming it's not just Eddie Hearn talking out of his rear end. He also says that he didn't see a long-form contract for the step-aside deal regarding Anthony Joshua and perhaps even Dillian Whyte. And obviously you can accept that. You can understand why he would be hesitant to agree any step-aside deal if he hasn't seen a long-form contract, because at the end of the day, he does want a guaranteed shot for Anthony Joshua at the winner of Fury versus Usyk. So again, make of that what you will. As far as what Accuses said, Usyk's manager saying that is Fury holding up the wagon, is that the interim fight that Accuses is referring to, or is it just Accuses saying something in retaliation because of the fact that Tyson Fury insulted his fighter? Also, as I've already said, Mike Coppinger via ESPN talking about parties attempting to renegotiate at the 11th hour, but not specifying which parties they were. And what did they try to renegotiate? Was it, as Eddie Hearn seems to imply, Tyson Fury trying to put an interim fight into the equation, where he didn't want to go straight into the Usyk fight, he wanted an interim fight? Is that why it fell apart? Was that the renegotiation at the 11th hour? Or was it the money that Dillian Whyte and Anthony Joshua were being offered? Was it them who tried to renegotiate at the 11th hour and get more money out of the situation? That's certainly what Tyson Fury has tried to suggest and imply on social media, but you know, Tyson Fury is not exactly impartial in this situation here. And Tyson Fury is very good at manipulating the public and getting them to believe things by being suggestive in one way or another. And I'm talking about believing things which aren't necessarily true. Okay. With that being said, since Tyson Fury has a history of that type of behavior, who's to say that Eddie Hearn hasn't taken a leaf out of his book and is trying to give Tyson Fury a taste of his own medicine, and that Eddie Hearn isn't actually the one who's trying to mislead the public here? Again, I don't know. I'm an outsider looking in, trying to make sense of this heavyweight mess like the rest of you are. Personally, I don't trust any of them. I think it could be any of these guys that's trying to mislead or maybe all of them to one degree or another, trying to mislead the public and so on and so forth. Now, the claim that Tyson Fury wants an interim fight before going in there against Usyk, to me, that has a ring of truth to it. I want to hear if Tyson Fury is going to respond to that and whether he's going to deny that. But to me, that sounds like something Tyson Fury would want to do again, because as confidently as Tyson Fury talks, and his fans, he's a boxing man. He's very smart. He manages his career very well, and he knows how good Usyk is. I know that, again, his fans are all boisterous and confident, puffing their chest out. The Gypsy King will destroy anybody at any time, at any place. Yeah, I get all that. But Fury's more sensible than that, despite all the bluster. He knows how dangerous Usyk is for him, and he wouldn't want to go in there ill-prepared. He wouldn't want to wing it like he did with Deontay Wilder in their first fight. So to me, that has a ring of truth to it. Again, that's just my interpretation. That's just my my view. Doesn't mean I'm right, because, again, we're all outsiders looking in. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. What is going on here? Is it Anthony Joshua and Dillian Whyte being greedy? Is it Tyson Fury not really wanting the Usyk fight next? Smoke and mirrors from him? Maybe it's a combination of all of these things. Maybe it's Eddie Hearn who doesn't really want the step-aside fights for his fighters for whatever reason. You guys let me know what you think in the comments below. As it stands right now, it looks like we're going to get Tyson Fury versus Dillian Whyte next. According to Eddie Hearn, the purse bids are going to go ahead today. And that's interesting in itself, because does that mean that the split has been resolved and that Dillian Whyte is going to get more than the 20% the WBC are currently offering him? Or does it mean that Dillian Whyte has decided to bite the bullet and take the 20%? And Eddie Hearn's hoping to bid high enough whereby even if Dillian Whyte is only on 20%, it'll still be enough of a percentage to give him close to the 10 million he was asking for. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully by the end of the day, we have some clarity. Again, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And if you've got any more information, please leave links and enlighten us all.